Hey y'all, it is Chris with Rockin 8 Farm, and unfortunately I kind of missed the last day of October garden tour this year. And if you watched my video that just posted on Tuesday, you'll know why. If you didn't watch my video that posted on Tuesday, I'm going to link that right up here, and you're going to have to go back and find out why, because I'm not going to tell you here. So we're several days into November now. But you know, we're still close enough to the end of October that the garden hasn't changed much in the last week or so. And the garden is going to go through a very big transition before November's over. So I did want to give you kind of a end of October-ish garden tour so that when you get the end of November garden tour, you can see the difference. So we're out here in the garden and let's take a look at what we've got going on now. This is the bed that we planted garlic in recently. So we'll just be waiting for that garlic to start coming up. And here is the sweet potato mound. And as you can see, now we haven't had any frost yet. We've had a couple of kind of chilly nights, but nothing even approaching, you know, the low 30s or even the mid 30s. I think we dipped slightly into the high 30s. So the sweet potato mound is looking pretty sad, but this is the first time I've grown these particular Murasaki sweet potatoes. From what I've been told, this means it's time to harvest. So we basically have right up until our first frost to harvest these. So as soon as we get some time, we'll come back and we'll cut all of this back, and then we'll start digging out these sweet potatoes. The walking onions are still going gangbusters. At the beginning of the season, we had basically 6 large onions, and now we have kind of a bed that's starting to fill up. So the walking onions have definitely been walking, and we really enjoy the greens as a flavor. Cut them up and put them in a lot of stuff. So if you don't have walking onions or Egyptian walking onions, or some people call them top set onions, in your garden, this is something you should really consider, because y'all, this is a perennial food crop. Permaculture people, perennial food crop. Plant those walking onions. If they die back, they will come back. So get those walking onions in the ground and you'll always have a source of onion flavor. We've started to notice as the weather cools off that the asparagus is starting to turn a little brown. This too will die back to the ground. Again, another perennial food crop. And this asparagus has just gone insane with all of its ferns this year. We're really, really looking forward to starting to get some of this nice purple asparagus next year. I can't remember if I've got 2 or 3 different varieties in here, but nonetheless, we enjoy having the perennial food crops. Plant it once and you eat off of it for a lifetime. This is all that's left of the butternut squash. We've put up a ton of butternut squash in a cool place in our house. Actually, you know what? It's not really a cool place. How do I put this? The kids come to me often and say, "Dad, why is there squash in our closet?" Well, because the closet is where I had room for squash. So yeah, cool, dark place. Most of this stuff here, I'm ready to pull these vines. I'm ready to make space for other stuff. So this, I think this is all going to be chicken feed, and I'm okay with that because we've put up a lot of them already. This bed had zucchini in it. The zucchini just was not producing anymore. Now, we did sprinkle a bunch of cilantro seed in here, and you can see I do have some cilantro coming up. The problem is my watering system was set up for dripping on zucchini. It's not set up for watering this entire bed. So I need to switch out my drip emitters so that I've either got some more of a sprinkler type setting or even just running soaker hose back and forth, because obviously it doesn't do any good for me to have seed in this area if there's no water dripping in that area. These two were doing very well because there happens to be a drip emitter laying right there. The basil at this point is all just going to flower and to seed. We've had some basil volunteers popping up in various places. You can see here, this just started growing a few weeks ago. That one started about a week after. So we definitely have had basil seeds spreading in our garden, and I'm okay with that. I mean, if basil starts growing in funky little places, it doesn't really bother me. Spinach is looking a little sad because it got cold and the spinach loved it, and then it got hot and the spinach hated it, and then it got cold and the spinach loved it, and now it's hot and the spinach hates it. So there's not a whole lot we can do about the weather, but as soon as it really gets nice and cool, I think the spinach will start doing a little bit better. The chives are doing great. We already come out here and pick a little chive off on occasion. So this bed was dill. And, you know, I mean, these chives, because they are perennial in this area as well, they're probably going to spread. And this is going to be half of a chive bed. Chamomile is doing absolutely wonderful. We're kind of hoping that we get some fall flowers, but if not, at least that it overwinters well and we get some good flowers coming off of it in the spring.
So Chris, I have a question.
What's your question, my love?
What kind of bug eats, what is this called?
Those are Carolina Reapers.
So what kind of bug?
What kind of a bug eats a Carolina Reaper?
A stupid one, that's for sure.
It could be a stupid bug.
It's in there? I see something in there.
It could be a daring bug. It could be I don't know.
Not me.
These are our Carolina Reaper plants. I told y'all that one of the great things about Central Texas is we get the spot where it's really, really hot. And if you can nurse your plants through the heat, then you can get yourself to a place where they're going to start coming back and doing more things for you. Okay. So Jess is holding this back for me. Carolina Reapers like you would not believe. I mean, look at all of those Reapers in there. So these things didn't do a whole lot for us through the summer, but now that the weather has cooled off a little bit, they are coming back gangbusters, and we're going to have more Carolina Reapers than I think any human being knows what to do with. On top of all the beautiful Carolina Reapers, y'all, look at all of these gorgeous slicing tomatoes. We are getting a better harvest of these solar flare slicing tomatoes now than we got when it was quote unquote tomato season. So the tomatoes came back like gangbusters. They're absolutely covered in green tomatoes. There's no frost on the record for the next 2 weeks. So we're talking about pushing all the way back to like the 18th, November 18th. There's no chance of frost. So unless we get some freaky deaky thing that comes in, we're gonna get one harvest that's just got a lot of beautiful tomatoes. And with that being said, on the flip side of the tomatoes, you know, a total summer crop, our winter crops are doing awesome too. So this is all broccoli and cauliflower here, and it is just growing so well and doing really good. Now, we planted a ton of garlic in here too, so, you know, go back and watch that garlic video. I'm going to go ahead and post it up there in the right-hand, or yeah, your right-hand corner. Again, you know, garlic is a companion plant with almost everything. So basically, if there was a place we could stick garlic, we stuck some garlic. Now over here on these side, these guys, they want a little bit more sun, but these tomatoes are going to be coming out very soon. In the next few weeks, the tomatoes are going to be coming out. And then all of these Brussels sprouts, 2 different varieties of Brussels sprouts, and also we've got some artichokes. They'll really take off once they get a little bit more sunlight, because we will eventually get that first frost. And when we do, all of these tomatoes and all these peppers on the back side of this trellis will all be gone. And then these will have all the sun that they could get. Now, speaking of tomatoes, if you look down the back side here, it looks really bad. But if we just start walking along and you kind of ignore some of the dead foliage, you're going to see that once again, Roma tomatoes coming in like you absolutely would not believe. And let's see if I can step over a trench without killing myself here. This side looks a little greener because it gets a little more of that nice evening sun. But these are those Amish paste tomatoes. And again, they're just coming back like you wouldn't believe. So we are definitely getting a second harvest of all of our tomato varieties. Tomatillos are looking really sad. And what we've noticed, so tomatoes, peppers, tomatillos. We're getting a huge harvest off of them right now. But what you'll notice is that this is covered in tomatillos. Tomatillos everywhere, but there's no flowers. So basically what you see here is what you get. What you see here on these plants is what you get. We're waiting for everything to ripen. We're waiting for everything to kind of, you know, fulfill its destiny. And then we're going to harvest the heck out of everything, and then it's all coming out, because it's definitely at a stage now where it's done flowering, it's done producing. It's just what we get is what we get. We had a few lettuces that we got in the ground a little bit too early and they bolted, but we have a few lettuces that are looking absolutely wonderful and taste absolutely wonderful. And we're able to grab a leaf here and there. Cabbage is looking good. Purple cabbage is looking good. I've got a bunch of stuff growing inside in the indoor aquaponics system that we'll be bringing out. And we'll just kind of keep succession planting all of this kind of stuff. This bed here is all garlic. Y'all saw me planting that, and you also know what happened because of that. Those bucket tomatoes came out. These ones here, again, you'll notice no flowers anywhere, but tons of atomic grape tomatoes. Still harvesting a lot of the yellow pear tomatoes. Still harvesting a ton of Cubanelle peppers. I think my wife already went through and pulled a lot of really pretty ones off of here. But we're still harvesting a ton of Cubanelle peppers, but what you see is what you get. No flowers on the poblanos, no flowers on the jalapenos, but they are still loaded with peppers.
You have a couple of big ones here. Right here.
So, again, the poblanos that we've been getting, it could just be, it's very much possible that our particular part of Texas isn't known for big poblanos. I don't know. Because these are supposed to be a regular size, you know, the size of your hand, and we've just never had that kind of luck. It could be some sort of a soil deficiency. The flavor is fine. They're just not big enough to do much with, except like cut them up and put them in your eggs or dry them into an ancho chili, which we crush into an ancho chili powder. Like I said, tons of peppers, tons of jalapenos. We've just got a lot of production going on right now. But this is definitely the end of it for all of these summer crops. Cucumbers have been gone forever. The majority of the squash vine has been gone for a long time. The beans are looking really bad. Scarlet runner beans are looking really bad. Pretty much all the beans that are on here right now, we're just letting them go, and we're going to let them dry out so that we have seed to stick these in other places. Vines are going to grow in nature. So my thought process, instead of these thorny, nasty vines that we have growing up our trees, I might plant a couple of scarlet runner bean seeds at the base of an oak tree and let the scarlet runner beans climb up the tree. If I have to have a vine because nature wants a vine layer, then I would rather it be a vine that I want rather than a vine that is nasty and ugly and painful and takes over the property. I.e., you know, I don't know, things like poison ivy. Now, I was able to get some lumber picked up. We're going to try to go pick up more lumber tomorrow. We're going to get a couple more beds built. It's kind of that crunch time because we're trying to get ready for the wedding and try to keep moving forward with the homestead. So we're trying to find those projects that kind of accomplish both. So if I can get a couple more beds in and we get some more arches in, then that means that we're going to have more of a pretty archway to walk through. Let me see. Carrots will be going in soon. We're going to plant carrots in with the garlic. Lettuces will be continually sown in. Kales will be continually sown in. All those types of vegetables and whatnot are going to be continually sown in and added. Once we hit January, we'll be getting onions in. We'll be getting those orchid tendril peas in, and we're going to plant the heck out of our arches in orchid tendril peas so that we have something pretty growing on the arches for the wedding. But that's neither here nor there because we're talking about an end of October-ish garden tour, and I believe we've just about completed that. So this is what a garden looks like. I shouldn't say that. This is what my garden looks like at the very tail end of October here in Central Texas. So this is what an 8B garden looks like in Central Texas at the very tail end of October. We're still in the first week-ish of November. No, we're not into double digits yet. Let's put it that way. All right, we're not into double digits yet. So we're still in the first week of November. And I just wanted to make sure that I got this video out because before November's over, most likely we will have a freeze. The tomatillos will be gone, the tomatoes will be gone, the peppers will be gone, and you're going to start seeing a lot more of the lettuces and kales and stuff like that sown in here. The garlic should be popping up by then. So I did want to make sure that I got an end of October video, even if it wasn't quite the end of October. Sorry I'm a little late, but again, if you watched Tuesday's video, you know why. So hopefully you can give me a little bit of grace on that. But we're really excited about the garden. We're really excited about the garden expansion, and we're really excited about where the garden is going. And we just hope that y'all continue to enjoy and help us and walk along with us on this journey. So until we see y'all again, we just want you to keep on being happy and living healthy.